Online shopping is the best. That's why I love Target. What woman doesn't shop at Target? You can shop with no bra, sweatpants, and even a glass of wine. You know I'm keeping it 100. Today's show is brought to you by Target, otherwise known as Target. Shed those sweaters, ladies, and keep away those dust bunnies, like the tulips and daffodils. Target has sales springing up all over this week. Expect more and pay less at Target Online by accessing the links from episode 7 on my website. You're going to go to www.ninababel.com/podcast, which gives you all the store discounts you need. Never pay that full retail again.
What's this totally her talk about? On the show, we are always talking about women that are totally her. She's the girl who has fun, short, relatable, inspiring, socially and sexually awkward real-life everyday conversations that girlfriends normally have on a daily.
Sup, Girlie Nation? Welcome back to another episode of the Keep It 100 Girl podcast, coming to you live from Washington, D.C. I'm your hostess with the Keep It 100 Girl mostess, Nina Babel. And as always, I keep it 100, I keep it real, I keep it true. But what makes me different is I use a sassy but classy TMI approach. This is where women, they tell the truth, nothing but the truth, even if it's totally embarrassing or super cray-cray. My hand is raised. How about yours? Are you ready to keep it 100?
Yes, I'm ready to keep it 100.
I'm ready to keep it 100, girl.
You know I'm going to keep it 100.
Want to know my latest obsession? It's Snapchat. You want to get to know me on a personal and business level? Be part of my Snap Nation. You could also connect with me on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat using the handle @NinaBabel. In case you missed it, last week's episode is what every girl needs to know in her 20s. Girlie Nation was smoking hot. They told all about their experiences, aha moments, advice, and mother friggin' knowledge. Our 20s is about finding your voice. And you don't have to be in your 20s to listen to this episode. I reach deep into the underbellies of women who really want you to hear their experiences so you don't make the same mistakes. Remember, it's all about breaking those cycles that play like a 9-inch record over and over. So today we're talking about deuces, setting them free. It's all about breaking up with your man or your girlfriend and your inability to set them free permanently. Embarrassing is in the eye of the beholder. My embarrassing story, it's just like Carrie and Mr. Big. I call it dating deja vu. You remember Sex and the City? It's all about those X's and O's. And I came to realize that the only thing that's good a second time around is food. Most breakups are utter shit and they're just not classy. There are plenty of X's that should stay your ex. And oh, they smell like expired cow's milk too. Rancid and run. Me and my exes, well, in some cases, I have some hell no's. And then in other cases, there's some yeses that I'm friends with. But with the hell no's, they're poof, be gone. I've dropped them out of my life for many, many good reasons. I'm not perfect either, so in the cases of yes, we're still cool. And then other cases, it's that 90-day rule, right, that takes effect times 10. There have been exceptions to the rule that I'll get into in a few minutes, but I call it this proverbial dating loop. The dating loop is when your new boyfriend happens to be your ex-boyfriend. So every one of not only my ex stories, but Girlie Nation's stories, they all have a loop. Let me explain. I went back to 3 exes. So ex number 1, this is the one that gave me trust issues that never existed before. It's that time when you were innocent, pure, didn't have a care in the world, everything was la-di-da. And then I went into this tailspin downwards for 2 years. 2 years straight until I got a grip of myself. I coined him as the quote-unquote the one. He had my heart on lock with the lock and key. I couldn't get him out of my system. I was in my 20s, and then it kind of spilled over into my 30s. Even my male buddies, they were like, yo, I'm going to break the bro code here. They gave me advice, and I still didn't listen. I wanted more. I got more too. But here's the loop. Without her permission, I was still in the picture. 2 years, went to 3, then 5, and then they fizzled. Then I pressed delete. Then I kept my finger on that button, and it's still there. Ex number 2 was only good on paper. Think of an decorated Ivy League a-hole. Know that book sense doesn't give you common sense. This relationship stayed in the shallow end of the pool. And on many counts, really, now that I'm looking back, it went nowhere. Want to know the loop? Here's the loop story. Broke up, took him back, panicked, chased me. Then he did Jack. It was all lip service. Then I finally pressed the delete button. The forever fucking delete button. Ex number 3 was a love it and leave it relationship. Ooh, I loved it. He was a looker and so insanely good in bed. Hours. That was my loop. I was dickmatized, but he was a super nice person and still is. You know, we met in our 20s, and when I moved back to DC, ran into each other, and, we just decided to give it another try. 10 years later, we're older and wiser and all that stuff. Come to realize that some people just have this dark cloud that follows them. And, I really, even to this day, I can't deal with those oh, woe's me stories. It's not me. I keep it moving. I'm all about turning negatives into positives, and I couldn't deal with that. On the flip side, I had to leave it. Seriously, anecdotally, I think he had some kind of mental, depression issue. It really earned his walking papers with a quickness. My dad always thought he was weak over the phone, and I thought my dad was being a bully. He loved to be over the phone while I lived at home in the 6. But in all honesty, there was some truth to that. And I could say with full confidence, none of these exes, 1, 2, or 3, gives me the O's anymore. My story, his story. Let's circle back a sec and start with ex number 1, that whole loop thing. I'm going to go into more detail. It's over, or is it? 13 years later. So back in December 2014, he says to me, his feelings have never changed. Well, mine have. I've purged you from my system mentally, physically, and emotionally. Yep. One of my exes contacted me a few years ago, who's now divorced with 2 kids, by messaging me saying, you were the one that got away. You should have been my wife. I should have went with my gut. And all I kept thinking was, really? What would your then fiancé had to say about that? Side note, she knew how he felt. I tried to politely close down the convo, but, he just continued to contact me. Then bloop, I just blocked him. I'm telling you, that's the best technology feature ever. I'm no longer that 20-year-old from the relationship, and I wanted nothing to do with him. If someone hurt me years ago, why would I give them an open invitation to do that all over again? Same church, but different pew. Embarrassing is in the eye of the beholder. If that story made your eyes roll, when I come back in the next clip, we're going to hear how time flies when you're not having fun. This woman's story trumps mine.
Is Keith the only person that you would say, you went back to ex-wise multiple times?
Elvin was on and off. Keith was it was breakup but just continued seeing each other. Relationship but broke up with no status, so we still continued to go to each other's houses for Christmas, still hang out.
When you think about it, that was over a period of how many years?
12 years.
Because I know for me sometimes I'm wow, you don't realize how much time has passed. Mm-hmm. And mind you, you have tunnel vision, you weren't really looking at anyone else.
In between, there might have been, not a lot.
So, what got you to the Deuces point, where you said, no more, I'm going to set his ass free for good?
I look at it like this. This is my analogy. You're like a plant.
A plant?
A plant.
Okay.
A plant needs to be watered to grow. Stop watering that plant, it withers away and dies. And withered away and died. And on top of that, so you're not watering me, you're not allowing me to grow. You just get tired of that. Tired of the negative, the bad feeling. You're dying.
One day you're going to thank God or whoever your spiritual guide is, your girlfriend or me, for helping you close that door that's still wide open. One day you're going to be grateful it didn't work out. I mean, it's hard to believe, but that day is coming. I'm sure I wouldn't have listened when I was younger. In fact, I didn't. Because, you kind of have to go through these things yourself. But that doesn't mean it would have been nice to hear it anyway. Which brings me back to reinforce this show is dedicated to empowering women who are too shy, nervous, or embarrassed to ask about sex, dating, love, their bodies, and their sexual health. I celebrate embarrassing TMI moments that happen to all of us. On this podcast, women overshare. Real women, including myself, we give our real mother friggin' advice. And we don't spare any details about our own personal experiences. You're gonna learn through laughter. It's our sister code. I mean, women express their personal bloopers when it comes to telling the truth. Okay, Girlie Nation, tune in to next Tuesday for another episode of the Keep It 100 Girl podcast. But wait, don't forget, before you listen to any other episodes, I need you to leave a 5-star rating and review. You are empowering not only me, but other women to help erase the stigma of embarrassment that we all carry shamelessly throughout our lives. It's not only my voice, but it's your voice and message that really matters to women. So we're ranting about this so-called female privilege. Yours, mine, ours, ones that are totally her. Relationships feel like a test you don't study for. We're wired to see breakups as failures, then we fault ourselves for either repeating the same mistakes or picking wrong. What's crazy funny? If you love someone, set them free, right? Shut the damn door. If they come back, you know what it means. Nobody else liked them. Set them free again. So this is where we beat ourselves up. We all hate that we were ever that powerless to our self-esteem. Know this.
I'm free.
Constantly taking him back after he does you wrong? You know what's going to happen, right? Don't act like you don't know.
It was tough when my heart was broken for the first time. Definitely was by Adrian. I definitely wasn't intentional by him. I was depressed. I mean, I probably was depressed for about a year. I didn't date anybody the rest of college. I didn't even want to. But it took me a minute to get over it. And he was kind of coming in and back in and out of my life. So I was, still holding on to it. But I remember my sister constantly being there saying, look, I'm not going to tell you not to love him, but when you're done with him, you'll be done. And that's what she told me. Because my other sister, the one that's is hardcore, was like, why the F do you keep letting him come back in? And blah, blah, blah. Regina, my other sister, you should just cuss him out so you can leave Kim alone. But my older sister was like, no. So I'm not going to tell her that. When she's ready to let him go, she'll let him go. It's not my place to tell her that. So eventually, it worked. And I said, oh, I'm moving to D.C. I moved to D.C. And that was all she wrote.
Right.
Yeah. And so now, 10, 12 years later, he's knocking. Hey, sorry, I messed up.
Wow. That's funny how they come back. They always come back.
Remember these 3 super douchey things that men do. He'll start to think, why act right? She's not going anywhere. And when he starts acting right, it's very short-lived. A leopard does not change its spots. He goes back to his usual ways. Tricks are for kids. By design, they suddenly remember you and try to hit you up with a lame email,
You got mail,
a text, phone call, or voicemail starting with profound words like some stupid off-the-wall question or some clickbait that shows off their lack of intelligence, like,
Hey, what's up? What you doing? Are you busy? How you doing? You want to catch up?
they know they screwed up. Remember, book sense doesn't give them common sense. I'm not advocating fixing or changing anyone, but you can't fix stupid. Shh. Admittedly so, when you meet him, he was the neck breaker and you couldn't wait to talk. You were checking him out. You were begging to be introduced to him or introduce yourself. I mean, this, after all, is 2016. And now you want to break his neck. Next is the troll walk of shame. Here are some moves exes use to target their prey. Whether you're booed up, in a situationship, Netflix and chillin', or not chillin', they will smell the scent you're giving off. Holiday syndrome. Fool me once. Okay, so we all know the pool gets smaller as you age. And if you don't, listen up. It's harder to meet people, especially if you don't subscribe to the online dating thing. Men always go back to a place they think is safe. Their minds are like elephants. Elephants don't forget, and that's a true fact. Tricks are not only for kids, but adult men too. Let's start with a typical holiday syndrome tactic. Oh, the biggest clickbait for exes is birthdays and various holiday seasons throughout the calendar year. There's no scripted responses here, but I'm going to take you back to math class for a second. If you didn't like or don't like math class, too bad. Picture a graph starting from the X and Y axis and draw a line that cascades upwards, starting with courteous and cordial, and then it transitions to leave me alone now. Then it moves on to you've overstayed your welcome, and then it goes to poof, be gone, and then lastly, it goes to activating the fucking mean girl button. Men, when you haven't talked to us in weeks, months, years, and then you randomly contact us like it was copacetic, that doesn't wash, unless she's a vulnerable, stupid female. Okay, I take back the stupid. Nobody's stupid. We just do stupid things. If they add you to Facebook, even worse. And don't think of it as cute, because it's not. Don't feel flattered this is an old flame that came back. I mean, it should really raise a flag and make you wonder if he's a serial ex on Facebook or social media. By default, men, ladies don't think this is cute. I mean, most of the times, females are like, what the hell made him think about me after all this time? Or after how it ended? Or I don't fucking care. Block.
Okay, we're doing it up a little differently by adding a new segment to the show called Nina Asks, You Answer. This is where followers from Girlie Nation write in with their personal story, and Nina either features or responds to each listener on an upcoming episode. Want to be featured on an upcoming show? Send your email to girlienation@ninababel.com.
Nina asked,
You've got mail.
and you answered.
So we all know you guys had a communication issue and then you're 7 hours apart. So what led you to go back to him?
Because a lot of the reason that we broke up was me. I broke up with him. I was struggling with a lot of things, trying to find myself and everything else. And, like, with his communication, like, was it all me? No. But, you know, he never really left my side. Even when we broke up, he was still consistently there for me. You know, if I had a bad day, I knew I could talk to him. And it was just one of those things. It took a lot of self-reflection as well. And, you know, it's one of those things where, I mean, I was coming into my religion at that point. I go to a Catholic school, but I did not come here affiliated with any religion. And it was something that, as I came into my religion, I was like, I'm unhappy and I don't know why. And it wasn't my boyfriend. It was one of those things where it was like, I really need to look at myself and really figure out what it is that I want and what I need and what's good for me. And like I said, sometimes I'm independent to a fault. And, you know, I thought I don't need a boyfriend. I don't need him in my life to do well in school and everything else. And I don't think that he makes me do well in school or any of that. I don't love him because I need to, but I love him because I want to. And I lost that for a little bit, especially when we weren't communicating. So it took some self-reflection and realizing, you know, that I'm not perfect, he's not perfect, and we both have to work on it, and it's something that it was worth fighting for.
Want to know what women in their 20s need to know? Then check out the friggin' truth. It's The Real by Nina, a full Holy Grail rundown of love, sex, dating, and health commandments for every woman. You can get a free copy by going to www.ninababel.com/ the friggin' truth.
Next, the fool me twice tactic. This goes to the oh boy, make sure the on again, off again victims are listening. You never have peace walking away from a situation you wish ended up differently. You hoped, you were disappointed, and you got hurt. There was a reason you broke up. Having feelings and being incompatible cannot be reconciled. As females, our imagination tends to always take over. You easily lose your dignity and your self-respect. You get angry at yourself, and then you go into this boyfriend remorse. What was I thinking? Why? And why for so long? Then after all of that, having to explain to your closest friends, family, the outcome of your on again, off again shenanigans.
I think some of the advice about dating too came through breakups, because I can remember my sister telling me, baby girl, it's going to be all right. You need to get up. You need to do this. You need to do that. And she said, there'll be somebody else. There'll be somebody else that'll love you more and love you how you're supposed to be loved. And she said, and he can't do anything for you. She was like, you breaking up with him and letting him go was the best thing that you could do for yourself. He has a lot of baggage. She said, this is the best thing he could do for you.
Yeah. Girlie Nation, you need to move forward. Get yourself out of that giant swirl of confusion. Grab that Wonder Woman lasso and say no more. There's only so many chances you can give someone. After a certain age, there's just no benefit of the doubt anymore, because you're old enough to know better. Fool me once, fool me twice, fool me 3 times. Me, the worst boyfriend award goes to the person I was on again, off again for way too long. By the time we broke up, I had realized how toxic he was and was just glad it was over. I wouldn't want to relive those memories. Not even the fun stuff. Too many lies and humiliating moments. Putting yourself outside of the situation allows you to see things differently, objectively, honestly, and acceptance that this is another dead end, cul-de-sac, end of the road. You do need some lows in life, so you really know and appreciate the highs when they start knocking. The best view comes from the hardest climb, and I'm a better person from going through that. Baggage claim. Breaking up is a big deal. No one claims their emotional baggage from every loop.
Flight number KI-100 arriving from Fantasy Island can claim their baggage on baggage claim number 4 get. You heard right, 4 get.
Keep in mind there should be restrictions. The first 5 pounds overweight, you get a pass. But once it starts gaining weight and you got deja vu all over again, Baggage, emotional baggage, it resurfaces and it just triggers those buried emotions that you haven't dealt with from your previous relationships. Don't obsess. Social media versus back in the day. So my crazy relationships are pre-Facebook. So I don't have a lot to contribute in the social media part. But now you don't want to be looking at their fucking face on Facebook. Not now, 5 years from now. And Dr. Helen Fisher, who's a PhD, research senior fellow at the Kinsey Institute, and a pioneer researcher on the biology of love. And she says heartbreak drains your mental, emotional, and physical energy. I know that's not anything new, but in the next clip, you're going to hear how women become attached to social media in their relationships, as well as the new breakup etiquette.
I love good morning texts because when I wake up and I just see this text message, this notification sitting on my phone, I'm just like, oh, you thought of me when you woke up.
But what if he just says, hi?
Oh, no, that's not how it works. It has to say good morning. Possible emoji.
I'm the same way. I love good morning texts. I'll send them sometimes, but I really like for you to send them, especially if I haven't talked to you in a couple of days. You have to be the first to send the good morning text, so then I know that you're still thinking about me.
And what happens when he doesn't? And 2 days go by.
Sorry, but you just got cut off.
I'm a fan of good morning texts, only if they're like good. They have to have like a few emojis. Like they don't got to be like faces, but you know, like maybe a sun, something here or there, something to brighten the day. If it's just like good morning with a period, I'd be like, could have saved that. Come on. No.
Nothing good comes from looking up exes on social media. Delete everything. Block, unfollow immediately. Shoot. Facebook has a breakup and stalking feature now where you can unfollow or stalk your ex without him knowing. Can you imagine? Text, call history, voicemails, contact info, emails, online profile, they all linger in that whole social media airspace because they aren't tangible and they're not easily thrown away, returned, ripped, or burned to shreds. Obsession is a real psychological response to breakups, says Dr. Fisher in the Love and Lust special issue of Cosmopolitan magazine. She did a study where subjects reported that they thought about their exes 85% of the time they were awake. Delete, 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 erase all proof you dated that person. Make believe, pretend they don't exist. We know they do, but just pretend. That's the only way to go. Otherwise, one drinks a bottle of wine, rum, beer, and proceeds to drunk dial or text message to see how you doing. No, don't do that. Delete everything. When you close the door, just don't lock it. Brick it over, man. Cement that joint so tight you can't break the seal. Use crazy glue. You know, women are different to men, though. When we say it's over, it's over. Especially when we're turned off. Men can go in and out of relationships, rebound, or even marriages, and still hold on to the same feelings for you. And I know this because a guy told me. So in this next clip, this millennial woman explains her stance when it comes to her hotline bling ending.
If you love someone, set them free. If they come back, you know, the saying is, then it was meant to be. But if they come back, it means nobody else liked them. Yeah. So set them free again.
Yeah, I've heard that.
And know if you constantly take him back after he does you wrong, he'll start thinking he can just continue to do you wrong. Mm-hmm. And there's no reason for him to act right.
What I've heard about that is that can be a thing with some guys. It's like, okay, I got her. She's in a safe little holding pattern. Let me see what else is on the market. And let me see what else can I, you know.
Hey, why give them all
It's
our
about the
secrets
chase.
away?
Isn't there a word for that?
About the chase. But because you know it's true. Yeah, so that's what some guys do. They'll put this person who is, you know, willing and open, and if you can
safe little pocket.
Yeah, exactly. And you can dip back whenever. They're like, okay, I got her. You know, I don't need you to put any more work into this. Because I think guys like the chase.
Isn't that the bottom B, the person that you're talking about? Like,
is that what that person is?
What is it?
Bitch.
The bottom
The
bitch?
one that's there through thick and thin, but you treat like crap, right? I think that's what I've heard anyway.
I never heard that term.
No.
Well, it's a term from, you know, I think like prostitution or something.
Maybe.
Okay. And I think it's kind of worked its way over maybe into
mainstream.
I learned it from the internet. I don't know.
Okay.
The internet taught me.
I thought this was something like all the kids knew now. I don't know.
Yeah, but so I think the terminology has perhaps shifted from that, and it could also be that person,
like the person that will stand by you while you do whatever, while you go away for like 20 years, whatever.
Yeah, and they're still there. Yeah.
Taking your crap when you get out.
Wow.
I've never been someone, like a lot of people I know will break up, get back together, break up, get back together. I've never been someone like that. I'm like, we're done, okay, bye.
Yeah, you don't go back to your ex.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I might hotline bling you next weekend. Like, sorry.
God.
But relationship-wise, we're done. I can even separate my friendships from my, like, romantic relationships really easily. I'll stay friends with my exes. I have no problem with it. I still care about you as a person. But you have zero chance with me now.
Yes.
That's just how I've always been.
So once you burn the marriage, you burned it.
When making an effort is torture, it's time to go and leave the relationship. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, I can't put the blame on you. Fool me 3 times, it's time to put up the peace sign. Deuces. Fool me 3 times, you're maxed out. Never trust a person who's let you down more than 2 times. If you're in a committed relationship, you don't have to commit. Once was a warning, twice a lesson, and anything more than that, he's overstayed his welcome and is simply taking advantage. Time to put up the peace sign and chuck up the deuces. Dr. Kevin Hilton is an experienced researcher and educator in the sociological field. I asked Dr. Hilton, what's the reason women go back to their exes? What's the psychology behind it? And this is what he said.
It comes down to what does that person represent? And there are a bunch of different ways that representation may play out. You know, what does that person remind them of? What need does that person fulfill? That even if it's an unhealthy need, and that's usually what's occurring. It might be a psychological need, it might be a physical need, be a financial need, it might be a social need. And the extent to which people feel like that can't be replicated elsewhere.
And you're not even mentioning sexual.
That's why I was being polite when I said physical.
No, don't be polite.
All right, so maybe this person knock it out the ballpark.
There we go.
Right? You've tried some other people, but they don't know your body the way this person knows your body. And so it becomes, that's part of the addictive part of sex that people don't talk about. You know, when you find your drug, so to speak, and you're saying, yeah, I've tried some other thing, but this person is inhibited, they don't have any hang-ups, they kind of take their time, they know what's going on. And if I'm with somebody else who doesn't even last that long, or who is too small, or who doesn't have the body, or doesn't even connect to me, in an emotional way that makes me feel sexy and slutty and submissive and vulnerable and nasty. And am I doing that good? You know, but most people don't ever think about it that way. You know, they just know that this is what's going on. But if you look at both men and women, but more so women, especially for women, what happens is the pool is a lot more narrow for women. There's a ton of single women who are running around, who are well together. There's a small amount of men who fit all of those things that can cater to certain needs. And so if I have to choose between just sitting at home versus finding that man who knows how to treat me a certain way in all of the ways in which that happens, I'm going to just keep going back.
Find someone new. Every bread have a cheese, as we say in the Caribbean, which means that everybody is bound to find their match. Be the person they don't want to lose. It feels fantastic taking back the control. Moving backwards is not for everybody. Don't fake angry with us either. You're definitely not the same person. You've grown, and more importantly, grown apart. The learning curve takes twice the effort just to balance the scales when you go back. We're flooded by the illusions, the memories that the person reminds us of. If you were unhappy most of the time, chances it's still a recipe for disaster. One of my Keep It 100 Girl listeners puts it like this. You can't be going back in history if you plan to live out your destiny. Let's reverse engineer this thought for a second because I thought it was really deep. But we can't be on missions for our destiny and stuck in history. There's a reason he was part of your history. A reason he only calls when he needs you. You need a foundation. Your spiritual guide won't find him until you continue on your path, living your purpose and fulfilling your destiny. All relationships hurt, but losing someone who doesn't appreciate and respect you is actually a gain, not a loss. So what did you think? Give me some love on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, or Facebook by letting me know you listened to this episode. But let's do a quick recap before we sign off. Number 1, shit happens, but own it. Number 2, no trilogies are allowed. It's only for Harry Potter movies. Number 3, staying friends with your ex stunts your growth. Make a clean break. Number 4, you're blocking yourself from moving forward. Number 5, definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result each time. Number 6, if you re-experience the same disappointment and hurt or worse, it's a big ass sign. A great new date or meeting a new guy, it's not always the answer, but it's a wake-up call.
So if you have a mantra you would like to share with Girlie Nation, you can tweet me at Nina Babel using the hashtag #EveryGirlShouldKnow. And then always, you can hit me up on Instagram, Facebook, or my latest obsession, Snapchat.
All right, ladies, I just want to end the show with these words. Your voice. Thank you for your girl love, Girlie Nation. No joke. I love all the connections that I'm making with each and every one of you. Every one of you inspire me every day to keep it 100. I keep it real and I keep it true.
And on this journey, my goal is to constantly reinvent me along with this podcast. All those things that you're thinking but not saying out loud, hell yes, I'm putting them on loudspeaker. In the words of my listeners, quote unquote, I have been loving your episodes so far. Cannot wait to talk to you. I love what you're doing. And I live that you are putting the information out there so women don't have to be in the dark, nervous, or afraid. That's exactly how I've raised my daughter for the most part. So hats off for you for having the courage and using your voice. Your voice is my favorite sound. A woman with a voice is, by definition, a strong woman. Be a voice, not an echo, Girlie Nation. And that is a wrap. We're done with another episode of the Keep It 100 Girls Show. Please share this episode with your friends. Anybody that has a question or would like to submit a personal story, send your email to ask@ninababel.com. And you know what? I'm going to feature it on an upcoming show. Subscribe for my podcast updates at ninababel.com/subscribe. New episodes of the Keep It 100 Girls Show we drop every Tuesday, yo, on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Stitcher. Give me some love, Girlie Nation. Subscribe, rate, and review my podcast. I'm the new chick on the iTunes block. When you subscribe, you get push notifications to your phone when an episode is launched and live. When you rate and review my podcast, you're endorsing my message, helping my position in each iTunes category, and more importantly, you're sharing your voice and message to other women. You can also check my vids on YouTube by typing Nina Babel. You can find Nina on Instagram, Twitter, and I love Snapchat at Nina Babel. Healthy living is more than eating and exercising. In the next episode of the Keep It 100 Girls Show, I will feature in the spotlight the menstrual cup diva, Bree Farmer. I don't know about you, but this whole menstrual cup stuff, it creeps me out. But this amazing 21-year-old advocates for women of all ages to be more in charge of their periods. That's if you still have one. And you're also going to hear from Girlie Nation and why they chose the menstrual cup too. See you next week. Smooches. Peace out.